Recording in progress.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining today's wildfire update. As always, please ensure your cameras are off and your microphone remains on mute unless you're asking a question. We'll start today with remarks from Mike Ellis, Minister of Public Safety and Emergency Services, Todd Loewen, Minister of Forestry and Parks, and Christy Tucker, Information Unit Manager with Alberta Wildfire, and then we'll take your questions. Minister Ellis, please go ahead.
Thank you very much, Sheena. And thank you all. Thank you all for joining us here today for the daily update. I want to thank you and thank all the firefighters out there who are working hard to contain the province's wildfires and making good progress. All the first responders, all the law enforcement community, and everyone that I saw, and Mr. Loewen and the Premier saw working so hard in the command center and the incident command team. As a result, there have been no new emergency alerts over the last several days. The municipality of Jasper's evacuation alert has been in place since July 22nd. Reception centers are still open in the cities of Grand Prairie, Calgary, and Edmonton. Under unified command, the municipality of Jasper and Parks Canada are collaborating on a comprehensive re-entry plan, and the Alberta Emergency Management Agency continues to provide advice. The municipality of Jasper has established specific re-entry criteria to guide the next steps in the process, including the restoration of critical services and the remediation of various safety concerns necessary to safely return. Incident command and incident management staff, led by Parks Canada and the municipality of Jasper, are expecting to open Highway 16 to commercial traffic in the next 24 hours. The government of Alberta understands this is an important economic corridor, and it's a priority for us to get large trucks and tractor trailers passing through the park again. The final details and timelines will be at the discretion of Parks Canada and the municipality, but we are offering logistics and planning support to help move things forward. In the town site, ATCO Electric has started to turn power back on, including the wastewater treatment plant. ATCO Gas is still conducting their damage assessment, with gas services remaining unavailable. The municipality has commenced debris removal from identified commercial sites in the town site, and on Monday during our telephone town hall, they committed to working with residents directly on any cleanup or debris removal on their property. It will be important to ensure that people aren't exposed to hazardous materials or hidden dangers, so it's likely specialized crews that will conduct the cleanup, but the municipality has said residents will have a direct influence on how the work is done on their property. I understand many people were forced to leave their campers and their trailers in the national park. A plan will be in place within the next 24 to 48 hours for these people. Parks Canada and the municipality of Jasper are working to get more information out as soon as possible. Teams also continue to plan for taking evacuees through Jasper National Park from Valemont to Hinton. Reuniting people with their friends and family is absolutely a priority. Parks Canada and the municipality will release more information as it becomes available, and we're working to help them with these plans. But we must ensure that there is a safe way to get this done. All the evacuees have had a very exhausting and very stressful time over the past week, and the last thing anyone needs is to put anyone at any further risk. The wildfire is still active. The weather conditions could lead to heightened danger in the coming days. This means that planning needs to be very careful and deliberate. We will continue to support the municipality and the Parks Canada as they continue this very important work. Reception centers and emergency social services staff will continue to be available to do everything that they can to take care of the evacuees in the meantime. And the Canadian Red Cross has also begun distributing a one-time financial assistance payment per household as firefighting and re-entry planning continues in Jasper National Park. There have been some encouraging developments in other communities. Little Red River Cree Nation has announced a tentative re-entry date starting on August 5th. To prepare for this date, they'll be working to restock grocery stores and make sure that there's enough fuel to support the more than 7,000 residents who will be returning. In the meantime, the reception center in the city of Edmonton will remain open, with the Canadian Red Cross supporting the First Nation evacuees. Yesterday evening, the municipal district of Bighorn also lifted road closures for Harold Creek Road and Highway 40. The northeast portion of Ghost Public Land Use Zone remains closed, and the area closure is located from south of the Red Deer River, east of Highway 40, west of the public land use zone, and boundary of north of Highway 579. We encourage everyone to continue checking 511 for the most up-to-date road closure information. The municipal district of Bighorn has been sharing information on social media as they are able to do so. They announced as an escorted convoy, which is happening now for persons needing to recover personal property along with Burnt Timber Road or Stud Creek Road. For those unable to join the convoy today, the municipal district of Bighorn said they will have a second escorted convoy on Thursday, August the 1st. Registration will be from noon to 2 p.m. at the Burnt Timber gas plants, and the escort will run from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. The community of Chippewa Lake in the municipal district of Opportunity remains on the evacuation order, with 105 residents having been evacuated and registered. However, the municipal district's emergency management team has announced their public works and utilities departments are preparing the community for reentry, and they have been planning for people to return as soon as tomorrow, with Chip Lake Road opening at noon on Thursday. In the meantime, residents can visit the Emergency Social Services Center at the Slave Lake Inn for refreshments and information and updates. In closing, I just want to again offer my sincerest appreciation to the many first responders who are on the front lines in Jasper and other wildfires right across this province. The work that you do, of course, to protect people's homes and communities is vitally important, and we do thank you. Everyone in Alberta is incredibly grateful for your bravery, your commitment, your dedication in the face of truly staggering danger. That will pass remarks to Minister Loewen. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Minister Ellis, and good afternoon. Thank you for being here for another important wildfire update. We've been able to make some good progress on a number of large wildfires over the past week, but this wildfire season is far from over. With the long weekend approaching, we must continue to work together, support one another, and do everything we can to protect our province's forests and communities. Thanks to some recent rainfall and the hard work of our personnel on the front lines, we've managed to make progress on many of the out-of-control wildfires that were burning in the province. At this time last week, there were nearly 60 out-of-control wildfires, and less than half of these remained this week. That said, we're not out of the woods yet. While lower temperatures and rain are expected in some areas of the province this week, next week we'll see higher temperatures return, bringing with them heightened wildfire danger and activity. With that in mind, we are working hard to make progress on several wildfires threatening communities while the weather is on our side. Alberta's government continues to assist on the Jasper Wildfire Complex. We have crews, helicopters, and heavy equipment supporting response efforts right now, and our air tankers are ready to assist if necessary. Parks Canada is reporting that over 750 personnel from across multiple federal, provincial, and municipal agencies are committed to responding to this fire. The priority is reducing the remaining risk that it poses to the community. Crews on the ground are beginning to see heightened activity with rising temperatures and dry, windy weather. To mitigate the impacts of this more extreme activity, Parks Canada is reporting that firefighters are considering options to strategically remove forest fuels, which will help contain the wildfire within natural, pre-existing, and constructed fuel breaks. Operations are also focusing on critical infrastructure protection in town and in outlying areas. Teams on the ground are working to share up-to-date data on the fire, which helps guide operation priorities, but know that everyone involved in the Jasper Wildfire Complex response is doing everything they can to protect the town from further damage and ensure residents can return home safely. I can't say how much our province appreciates the efforts of everyone involved in the Jasper response. I'm grateful too for the resilience and courage shown by the town's residents during this difficult time. I can only imagine what you're going through right now, but Alberta's government will continue to provide necessary support and work towards a safe recovery for all impacted in Jasper. Our firefighters and personnel also continue to make progress on the CMO Wildfire Complex near High Level, and we're hopeful those who have been evacuated will be able to return home safely soon. Many of the wildfires Alberta has been experiencing in recent weeks have been lightning caused. There is unfortunately nothing we can do to anticipate where these wildfires will occur, and they often break out in difficult to access locations. To help us respond to these as quickly as possible, Alberta Wildfire has 100 lookout towers strategically placed throughout Alberta. On average, our lookout observers detect about 23% of the province's new wildfire starts, and they play a crucial role in a timely response. But everyday Albertans are also crucial to detecting new wildfires in a timely manner. Public phone calls to the 310 fire line account for about 57% of the new wildfire detections. This is especially important at this time of year when we're seeing more and more lightning-caused wildfires in remote locations. Lastly, I'll close with some updates to the fire bans in the forest protection area of Alberta. Thanks to cooler temperatures and precipitation this past weekend, the fire ban will only remain in places for southern and northernmost areas of the province. Grand Prairie, Edson, and parts of the Whitecourt Forest area have been moved to a fire restriction, and Peace River is now under a fire advisory. These advisory levels may change as fire danger fluctuates over the next few weeks. So it's important to note that before Albertans head out to our parks, they should regularly check the Alberta Fire Bans app or the Fire Ban section on alberta.ca. Other jurisdictions may still have bans or restrictions in place, so always check beforehand when planning a trip or recreating outdoors. I'd like to close by thanking everyone on the front lines for all their courage and hard work this wildfire season. We're incredibly grateful for both our provincial wildland firefighters and personnel, as well as everyone who come to help us in our time of need from beyond our borders. Thank you.
Good afternoon. There are 114 wildfires burning in the forest protection area. 20 of those are now out of control, 45 are being held, and 48 are under control. So far this year, we've had 1,000 wildfires in Alberta, burning more than 560,000 hectares. The month of July has been unusually active for wildfires. We've had 488 new wildfire starts this month, which is nearly half the total for the year. The average for July is just 212. In addition, 94% of the area burned in Alberta has burned in the month of July. This year's unusual situation is due to a combination of hot, dry, windy weather and lightning storms. The northern parts of the province have recently benefited from cooler temperatures and rain, which has given firefighters the chance to make progress on many of those wildfires, as the minister said. All the wildfires in the Cattail complex in the Fort McMurray forest area are now classified as being held, meaning they have been successfully contained. The CMO complex has shown little to no growth, and we're working overnight and through the day to take advantage of the weather to reinforce containment lines and put out hotspots. In the Kettle River complex, fire behavior has been low, but we're anticipating fire danger to go up with warmer, drier weather over the next few days. 100 additional firefighters from Australia and South Africa are now working on the ground on this wildfire today. We continue to support Parks Canada with the work they are doing in Jasper. With the warmer weather, particularly in the south, please continue to exercise caution outdoors. As the minister said, fire bans and restrictions are in place for your safety and the safety of our forests. Go to albertafirebans.ca to find out if any restrictions or bans are in place near you. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. We'll now take questions from the media. Please note that Joe Zatilny, Deputy Managing Director for the Alberta Emergency Management Agency, is also available for questions. Media can ask one question, one follow-up, and before you begin, please state your name and media outlet. And we'll begin with Dennis. Please go ahead.
Dennis Cofton, CBC Fort McMurray. My question is to the ministers and to Joe Zatilny. Little Red River Cree Nation announced that they would start returning on August 5th. My question is, what is the province going to be doing to facilitate their re-entry? Kind of what are the measures that the province will undertake on its part within its area of jurisdiction?
So maybe I'll start with that. Certainly, Alberta Emergency Management Agency will be working with the local municipality to help with a smooth reentry into the community. As far as the disaster recovery program is concerned, certainly these are It's a program that we have. We'll work very collaboratively with the federal government to make sure that the applications are in, and that we start to work with the communities, assess damage if there is any damage, as an example, infrastructure, if there is any damage regarding infrastructure. But we will be working very collaboratively with the community. It is fortunate and unfortunate, depending on perspective, that Alberta Emergency Management Agency has a lot of experience in the disaster recovery field, and very confident they'll be able to help the Little Red River Cree Nation. Joe, do you want to elaborate on that?
I think, great explanation, Minister. And, we're going to play an extremely close supporting role to them as they go through this phase into re-entering their community and looking to support where they need along this journey. And of course, these communities, hats off go to them and others for the work they do and the evacuations and looking after the people and making sure that they get what they need during these difficult times. And so we'll play another key role in supporting that and providing what they need and keeping close contact with them along that journey.
And the follow-up is, last year, the Little Red River Cree Nation had to evacuate due to wildfires. This year, they had to evacuate due to wildfires. And when I interviewed Chief Sue Peggaham, he said, is it something that we might have to be doing on an annual basis? And I'm wondering, kind of, what is the Alberta government doing? Perhaps what is the Alberta Emergency Management Agency doing to kind of adjust itself to a possibility that such large-scale evacuations, including in the provinces north and in Indigenous communities, might become a regular occurrence?
Yeah, no, good question. I would tell you that Alberta Wildfire, as well as Alberta Emergency Management Agency, will be working with the federal government. Some of it has to do with mitigation, and I know maybe Mr. Loewen can expand on this, but we're always looking at opportunities how to protect communities in the event of a worst case scenario. Maybe Mr. Loewen, I can pass it to you as far as some of the mitigation efforts that you're working with all communities in Alberta.
Yeah, so we last fall we kicked off the Community Fire Guard program, and so we have communities that are working closely right now with the organization FRIA to work on their community fire guards going forward. And so that program is going forward. I know Little Red Cree has done a lot of work as far as fire mitigation on their own reserve land with building some big fire guards. I've seen them myself on Jean D'Or Prairie and at Fox Lake. So I know that they're doing work too, and we're happy to work with them on our public lands around there to be able to mitigate the fire issue in their area. Last year, the fires, hit Fox Lake incredibly hard. Now the fire that's burning now is on the north side of the river and on the north side of Jean D'Or Prairie. And again, there's been some really good work done there, both as fire mitigation on behalf of the nation itself, but also as far as the Alberta Wildfire working hard and diligently to protect that community.
And Minister, if I can add, from a field officer level, we interact regularly with our First Nations partners and work to exercise plans and support with the expertise that we can provide and help and make connections throughout so that we can expedite and support their safety in their communities.
Thank you. Chris, over to you.
Hi, yes, I have a question for Deputy Premier and Public Safety Minister Ellis. Minister, what kind of provincial programs, financial programs, are going to be put in place to help businesses in Jasper restart or rebuild? And do you know how many of the destroyed properties involve businesses in Jasper?
Great question, Chris. Look, this is stuff that the Incident Command team is relaying to the Alberta Emergency Management Cabinet Committee. I wish I had a better answer for you right now. Certainly, we're continuing to assess the damage. I think some of you, may have seen some idea of what has been, damaged and or destroyed. So really right now we don't have well, I don't think we have some exact numbers that are public, we'll say at this time, but I'll just say this is ongoing, and we're going to have to figure out what kind of supports. I know that Premier Smith has indicated that we want to engage Mr. Matt Jones in his ministry to see what kind of supports that we could possibly offer to people that have been affected.
Just to follow up on that, what will the province do to assist companies and residents who don't have insurance in place currently or are having problems with their insurers in getting their insurance coverage or interruption insurance?
Well, I think that's that question. I appreciate the question. I think it's at this point a little premature, and I only say that because we certainly haven't had residents be able to go in right now and at least take a look to see what is damaged, what is destroyed. Certainly, we held the town hall on Monday. We had the Insurance Bureau of Canada with us to answer any questions. Certainly we, in regards to those who may not have insurance, and sorry, I guess where my mind is going is sometimes folks who are seasonal workers that might be, renting a place and unfortunately maybe they had something that was damaged and or destroyed. Right now we've engaged Minister Nixon's office in Community and Social Services to see what kind of supports that they might have available to help those that might be affected by that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Minister. Jonathan, over to you.
Hi, Jonathan Bradley, Western Standard. So my question is for Minister Ellis. So you spoke about ATCO being in the process of hooking homes up to heat and gas again. What's the status of finishing that?
Well, we don't have an exact date. Certainly the information I had when I spoke to the incident command team earlier this morning is that ATCO is working feverishly to make sure that the scenes are safe, right? So that means, they're really having to go home by home, business to business. I think you may have heard this, Jonathan. We observed down power poles as an example, some of which had fallen on other structures. These are things. There's live wires within certain areas of the community right now. So all that stuff is in process. It's being fixed. I wish I could give you an exact date. All I can tell you is that we have crews, meaning ATCO. ATCO Electric, ATCO Gas are just working at a really fast pace in order to get this stuff really stable at this moment.
Okay. And one thing that wasn't mentioned in your update was the bus trips that are going to be heading up to Jasper. Obviously, as you mentioned, there's still live wires on the ground and there's still gas and electricity that has to be hooked up again. So, it has to be a safe situation, you could say. But what other steps will have to be taken before bus trips to tour the damage can take place?
Well, first of all, let me just thank you very much. First of all, let me just say we're in the planning stages. Again, this is a conversation I had with the incident command team earlier today. We're trying to get the planning stage of these bus trips sooner rather than later. I wish I can give you an exact date on that. But as you already mentioned, there are a number of variables, right? So number one, we talk about making the scene safe. We have live wires. We have possible exposure when it comes to natural gas, as an example. These are all things that the crews are working on. We're trying to remove. When I say remove debris, just understand it's not necessarily we're making if an individual's house happened to be damaged and or destroyed. It's not about going in and removing anything from that house. It's just about making sure that it's safe, so that when somebody returns, that they will have that opportunity to go through it. When I say debris, we're talking about fallen trees, falling power poles, debris that is on the road, providing obstructions, possible dangers that are on the streets. We're actively in the process of obviously making the scene safe by putting up fencing again. around certain damaged areas within the community. So all of that stuff is ongoing. But I can tell you that we are committed to getting these bus tours. Even in the scenario where the folks may not be able to exit the bus, but may be able to at least go and look and see as to what's going on, we're trying to get that really, really soon. And I wish I could give you a better answer, but I can tell you the work is well underway, and it will be sooner rather than later.
Thanks, Minister. Zach, over to you.
Yeah, thanks. Zach Laney with the Edmonton Journal. I'm just curious as to, could we get maybe a little bit more details on the possibility of opening Highway 16 and allowing traffic through there? I think you mentioned it, Minister Ellis. What is that going to look like? What's the timeline for that sort of thing?
So not just myself, but certainly the Premier and all my cabinet colleagues have certainly expressed to the Incident Command team. I know I had a conversation with Minister Sajan early today and yesterday, and he is in full agreement as well. The importance of getting Highway 16 open to commercial vehicle traffic. We are optimistic that it's going to be within the next 24 hours. That's really the best answer I can give to you on that. To get at least the commercial vehicles going through, that will be number one. I think also everybody needs to understand is that we still have wildfires that are out of control. So we're getting the information, trying to figure out where they are, what is the proximity of these fires to roadways, as an example. And we're trying to make sure that it is at the very minimum safe for the commercial vehicles to go through. In a scenario where the fire is posing a potential danger, there's planning that needs to go as to how vehicles turn around, to the RCMP, to Parks Canada have all the necessary resources to block off a certain area, to make sure that any commercial vehicle that is going through is doing so in a safe way. So there's a lot of planning that goes into this, because really, quite frankly, I mean, we're still in a crisis point when it comes to wildfires in the community, or sorry, in the national park of Jasper at the moment.
Yeah, thanks for that. If you get to a point once the planning stage is sort of complete and you're able to kind of allow commercial vehicles through, would that be restricted at that time just to commercial vehicles, or would you allow kind of civilian vehicles to be able to pass as well?
So it is going to be restricted at this time to commercial vehicles, and let me explain why. The Incident Command team had indicated to me that on that particular stretch of road, there's a number of off-ramps. What I mean by off-ramps, I mean that, just kind of roads that just kind of go into the forest. So right now they're identifying what those roads are, and they will be putting up barriers, cement barriers, to prevent vehicles from going there. Once that happens, and then the scene itself is safe, then you will see more personal vehicles beyond that of the commercial vehicles that will be able to go through.
Thank you.
Thanks, Minister. That looks like all the questions we have today, so we'll wrap it up. But just a reminder that the daily media update will be sent out after 3:30 p.m. today. Thanks, everyone.